Hello and welcome to Items On, the podcast where you get to follow your favorite Melee players and personalities. I'm your host, Ethiopium, and today's special guest is Michigan's very own KJH. How you doing today, homie?
I'm good. How are you?
Living the dream, another interview, man. I can't complain. So usually how we start these is let me know how you started in Smash and what you were doing before you got into Melee.
Okay. Um, I was playing competitive Yu-Gi-Oh before I got into Melee, and I think how I started playing Melee was one of my friends in high school. Um, we would like skip lunch sometimes to go to the library. And we would play Smash 64 on the computers. And we got really mad at that game. We were like, dude, we should play Melee. And one of us like just brought our GameCubes to school, and we played, and I lost, and I got really pissed. So I just went home and like looked up how to play Melee VODs, and then I kind of got lost in the sauce of just L cancel, all these techniques, and all these things. And it wasn't long before I just started like beating him, and then I beat him a lot, and I just kept practicing and practicing. But I still didn't have like a car at the time. I didn't even have Facebook at the time, so like I couldn't find tournaments or anything like that until randomly at one of my Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments there was a Melee tournament there, and all my Yu-Gi-Oh friends thought I was like the best player in the world just because I could beat them like 2v1 or 3v1 or whatever. But they're like, "Oh, are you going to enter this Melee tournament?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess." And I entered, and I got fifth, and it kind of opened my eyes to like how good people are, and that like I wasn't the best in Michigan or anything like that. And yeah, I think that was the that was the day I like met some of my friends who like invited me to Smash Fest and everything, and that was also like the day I kind of decided to quit Yu-Gi-Oh and just play Melee.
So what year was this? You're talking about like school and going
This
to
was
the library?
2012.
All
This
right,
was
so it's back
2012.
then.
Well, okay, so like I started playing like I had practiced for like a year and a half
Mm.
without really playing people who were good because I was still in high school. Um, but yeah, 2012 was when I went to that tournament that had the Yu-Gi-Oh tournament at it. I did randomly go to a tournament in like 2010 that Mewtwo King was at in Ann Arbor.
Really?
Yeah, my friend was able to take me because again I still didn't have a car, and I got destroyed there. I lost a duck and whatever, and I just like I didn't think much of it because I was still like pretty new. I was like, yeah, of course I'm like that. But after 2 more years of practicing, I was like, okay, I'm better than Mewtwo King or whatever. Yeah.
So you're
So,
you were doing like competitive Yu-Gi-Oh before that. Like can you break
mhm.
down cuz like I don't know too much about Yu-Gi-Oh. Like can you break down what that looked like and do you feel like you always were a competitive person to begin with?
um, let me think. I do think I was a competitive person to begin with, but it was more like being able to innovate and create things. Because that's kind of what I was doing in Yu-Gi-Oh. I was always trying to like come up with something crazy or look for new tech in Yu-Gi-Oh. And it was more that aspect that like got me into it rather than the competition itself. But competitive Yu-Gi-Oh is just it's expensive. Like I didn't have a lot of money or a job or anything at the time, so I had to work with what I had. So I had to get creative and everything. Um, yeah, that's about it with Yu-Gi-Oh. Honestly, it was fun, but I definitely enjoyed Melee like a lot more once I was able to like find people to play. Once I had a car and I could go places, it became a lot more easier.
So what kept you like for the first 1.5 years where you didn't, have those opportunities to like drive out or go compete? What kept you practicing and in love with the game?
It was just fun. Like I just watched YouTube videos all day. Like I started off with Falco because Westfalls was my favorite player at the time.
Hmm.
I just played Red Falco and I was like doing multi shines and things like that. So it was just fun. Like I definitely had dreams of like going to tournaments because I saw like Manga Armada and stuff at Genesis and all those VODs, and I was like, dude, I want to go to a tournament someday. So it's like I want to be ready whenever I do.
Do
But
you?
I don't know. The game was just too fun to like not actually play.
Yeah. I mean, were there people after that first tournament that helped you get inundated into the scene, and who were
Yeah,
they?
it was a player named Slayer. He's in Minnesota right now,
Mm-hmm.
and a player named Love. He's still in Michigan, but he doesn't play. But both of them, it was funny. They were like, "Wow, this guy's pretty good. We should like invite him to Smash Fest and everything." And I was like, I was still kind of shy and like kind of antisocial at the time. So like, yeah, like I gave them my number, and after the tournament, I didn't really plan on trying to compete more. Really, I was just like, okay, whatever. Like that was fun. Like I'm still practicing everything, but I don't know if like how deep I would get into this. And they kept texting me. They're like, "Yo, you want to come to Smash Fest today?" I was like, "Nah, not today." I was like, just kind of nervous and hesitant. And I would just keep going up to the Yu-Gi-Oh card shop and just playing some Yu-Gi-Oh, playing Melee with those people.
Mm-hmm.
But one day I finally decided to go, and like the Smash Fest was it was like kind of loud and everything. Everyone, because they all knew each other. I didn't know anyone there,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just like, I don't have much experience, so I'm kind of just there trying my best, doing all these crazy things with Falco. And yeah, I went the whole day without really saying anything, but I left, and I was like, damn, I kind of want to do that again, and that just started the addiction. I think after that day, I went to go sell the rest of my Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and then I was at Slayer's house like every other day, pretty much. Like after school, after classes, I would just go there, and next thing I know, it's just this is what I'm doing every day.
That's crazy that you just like made that decision that day where it's like, all right, I'm
Yeah,
playing Melee.
yeah.
Do
I
you,
still talk to them like to this day.
the
They are
Yu-Gi-Oh
kind of
guys?
no, Slayer and Love.
Word.
Yeah, yeah, they're the people who got me into this like 100%.
So like, I think for some of the newer players who, have Slippy and stuff like that, they might not realize how crucial Smash Fests were in order to get better back in the day. Um,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think were some of the things that created that great environment that allowed you to, like go in and have fun and feel like, yeah, you know what, I do want to commit to this game.
Um, honestly, there wasn't a lot of uh how do I put this? There wasn't a lot of meta and ranking talks. Twitter wasn't that big of a deal. So it was so much more welcoming. It was just like, oh, these are just like homies to hang out with, like and that's it. Like again, no Twitter, no nothing, no ranking this, ranking that. It's just like it's just melee. And that was cool. I was like, yeah, like I love this, but like I feel like now it's easier to get into the game as far as like the resources and getting good at it, but it's probably more difficult to like build stronger relationships and stuff with people. Um, just because I don't know, I can't imagine getting into the game now without any Smash Fest and just like Slippy and ranked and all these things, melee online, all this Discord and Twitter talk. It seems difficult, but like back then, it's like if someone had a problem with you playing lame or whatever, they would just say it at the Smash Fest, and it'd just be like a joke, and we sell it with a money match, and that'd be it. Like that's it. Like it was so hype back in the day. We would always sell things with money matches, and I don't know, it felt a lot more healthy back then, honestly.
I feel that for sure. I think I'll get into that a little bit later into the interview, how things have changed a little bit. But
Mm-hmm.
you did touch on the fact that at first you were shy going to these Smash Fest and you didn't know whether you wanted to go or not. Did Melee
Mm-hmm.
help you like open up a little bit and be more social? Like, because you're saying like this is during the high school or like just after high school years, you
This
know?
is just after high school.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. Honestly, it did because in high school, obviously, people weren't playing competitive games. That wasn't the talk of high school, like at all. So uh, I was able to find more people that were interested in things that I was interested in, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So, that did help me open up like a bit more. Because like I said, I was shy. I didn't know like how these people were or anything like that. And, the more I hung out with them, the more I was like, oh, okay, they're kind of just like me, kind of just silly, um, playing this game. We have similar interests outside of the game. So yeah, it definitely helped a lot early on. Um, Being able to socialize with those people outside of the internet, like again, with how it is today, just in person interactions, I think are just so much more different, more
Absolutely.
impactful.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with you. So at this point, were you still playing Falco? Were you still on the bird, or were you transitioning to the fox?
So I was doing both at this point.
Mm-hmm.
By 2012, I was doing Fox and Falco, and I did that up until 2014, and then I dropped Falco in 2014. But
What made you drop him?
it's such a stupid reason. It's I saw Hacks. It's when Hacks picked up Fox, and it was the first time I saw a Fox move that fast,
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't want to do that. And I was like, I'm done with Falco. I just dropped them.
So like why Spacies in the first place? Was it the speed, the movement, the control? Like what about Spacies
I
that
think
got you to them?
just all the videos I saw when I first dove into like YouTube, like Melee YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
It's like seeing Silent Wolf videos, seeing all these tutorials on Falco and Fox. I was just like, this is like the coolest thing ever. It just seemed cooler than like the other stuff. I did originally start with like Marth and like Dr. Mario and stuff like that,
Mm.
but the more I got better, the more I realized that I could do some of the things from those videos, like the Silent Wolf videos and everything like that. And I was like, damn, they just look cool. I did start with Falco also because he was easier to do things with. The Fox stuff I couldn't do. Like I just couldn't. I was like, I can't do that Silent Wolf stuff. That's too hard. But the better I got, the more I was like, okay, wait, I can do this. Maybe I should play Fox. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. That was a weird time.
So what did your practice look like? I'm sure you're doing the Smash Fest. I'm sure you're going to your locals. Like what did your practice look like outside of those
Like back
arenas?
in the day,
Yeah, like back in 2014.
yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I wanted to really learn multi shines and everything, so I would like have a rubber band tied to the trigger on another controller to hold shield. I would just practice like doing West Walls pressure and multi shines on that. Um, what else? I would practice like ledge tacking with the sensor bombs, like the
Mm-hmm.
motion sensor bombs on the ledge.
Yeah.
Um, and I guess just like wave shine combos and pillar combos, like on CPUs. Practice back then was so different. It was just like, yeah, all you can really do is practice like your ledge dashing, some combos on like the DI that CPUs do. But I didn't know much about like shadow boxing or having game plans and stuff like that. So my practice was very very basic and tech skill oriented.
Mm-hmm. Do you like when I think of your Fox and your gameplay in general, I think of innovation and I think of work ethic. Do you feel like those
Mm-hmm.
traits were instilled back then in 2014, 2015, or did you have to grow into those traits as you continued?
Nah, that's been there.
Yeah. What
Yeah, that's been there.
where do you think that comes from? Is that intrinsic? Is that something that you learned through Melee?
It wasn't through melee. It was just like before melee, before Yu-Gi-Oh, I would draw.
Mhm.
I would just practice drawing and everything. Or even after that, I would like practice yo-yoing. And yo-yoing was just like repetition over and over and over again and coming up with new tricks and seeing what I can do. So it's just like I just always had
Mhm.
like that urge to want to grind something to get better at it. And it's funny because I feel like melee, like again, outside of the competition, I did play it for 2 years straight without competing with anyone.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, yeah, I want to grind this. This is something that I can like grind and see progress in every single day. So yeah, that's just been there. I've done it with, like I said, yo-yo drawing, magic. I used to do magic as a kid. Break dancing, like I just grind things. Just
Hmm.
wanted to get better at them.
What do you enjoy about grinding things? What do you learn from it?
It's just pushing myself. Like I think I learned more about myself from competition, but from grinding, it is just like I like seeing the improvement. You know,
Hmm.
I don't think it's any more complicated than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, I guess I'm asking like these in like big picture questions right now, but like, do
Hmm.
you feel like grinding and competition are like two parts of the same coin, or do you feel like they're pretty separate? I mean, I feel like personally, obviously, I'm not the competitor that you are, but like, I do feel like they're a little bit separate in terms of my mind state in them. What do you feel like?
I guess it depends on what you're grinding for.
Mm,
If you're grinding to compete, I can see that they're more similar. But if you're grinding for like the love of the game or just like grinding because you love grinding, then I guess it could be separate.
mm-hmm,
I guess right now it's definitely a bit more connected. When I grind, it is more towards grinding for how I want to perform and how I want to compete. But
yeah.
yeah, I haven't thought about that one that much.
So I guess I have another question for you on grinding. I'm a little interested. So we all know those players who put in so much time into the game
Hmm.
and just hit a wall and they're just not getting better. They're getting frustrated and they're saying, "I'm grinding though. I'm doing this, I'm doing that." What do you
Yeah,
think are like the difference between a good grind and a bad like stuck in your habits type of grind?
yeah. As someone who has gotten stuck in habits and someone who's like giving lessons now to help people avoid those mistakes, um, I think the biggest difference is when people ignore um, the mindset grind or the mental grind as well. It's like just as important, you know, because people can sit here and grind 10 hours a day, Uncle Punch ranked, unranked, or with a person. There's so many ways to grind, but you have to treat like the mental game with the same kind of intensity and the same focus, I feel like. And it's something I kind of neglected. It's something I thought that I could I could physically grind my way through the mental stuff, I guess.
Mm,
Like if I just got better, then the mental problems would go away, you
mm-hmm,
know. But it's the same. Um, you have to treat it the same, in my opinion, at least.
mm,
And that might be the biggest thing with people who are getting stuck is they're not spending enough time on their mental and just kind of spending time on the game. It's just like, yes, I'm grinding, I'm grinding. Why am I not getting better? And it's just like, well, I don't know. You probably are getting better, but there's something more blocking you that the game can't like really fix. You know,
mm-hmm. So
at least that's my opinion on it.
yeah, I think that's a great opinion. I guess I got a follow up question, which is, I think it's now, especially with how much, materials there are in the game today, it's pretty easy to work on the game side of things and know what you need to learn. And, if you get a coach, that's always helpful too. But what were some of the steps that you had to take to help your mental side of the game?
Fixing things outside of the game.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally. That the game, the game wasn't the problem.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, the game. I always say it, or I've been saying it more recently. Is the game is just like it's just two characters that can like jump around and do moves.
Hmm.
That's pretty simple. So like the game is never going to be the problem. Um, it's like my thought process, my insecurities, why I'm doing what I'm doing. Like I had to keep reminding myself like why I even started playing the game, and I didn't start playing the game for like the competition or the validation or anything like that. Like I started playing the game because it was fun.
Hmm.
So it's like I do have to constantly remind myself of that when I am grinding and getting frustrated at something like the results or something like the validation when I get frustrated at those things. Um, Does that answer your question?
Absolutely, yeah. And
Okay,
I
okay.
think my last follow-up question on that before we go back into your career is, I think we touched on how the scene is today with, less of that person-to-person interaction, more of that, online discourse, whether it be on Discord or Twitter.
Hmm.
And you said right there, I had to remind myself why I play the game. It's not about the competition or validation. It's because, I enjoy the game. Do you
Yeah.
feel like it's harder to remember why you play the game with, in this day and age? And what do you do if that's the case to, solidify and
Uh,
center yourself?
I mean, it was harder maybe like a year, maybe 6 months ago to a year. It was harder to remind myself of that. But right now, it's not.
Hmm.
It's just because I do take the mental side much more seriously now. Um, but how would I remind myself and how do I center myself on that? I just write a lot, I guess. That's how I do it. Like when I do get angry and I do get frustrated, I my thoughts are so jumbled that it's like I just want to kind of direct this to something else. I want to get this on a piece of paper or on my phone and get my thoughts out. And then the more I write, the more I can see them for what they are. And I'm just like, okay, this I need to zoom out. This isn't that big of a deal, right?
Hmm.
Like I'm getting upset at this, and that. And it's just like, man, this is just a game that I can keep using, like push myself, like with competition and with practice and everything. So it's like, yeah, whenever I get like that or frustrated, I my first step is to zoom out, I guess, and that makes it a lot more easier to like tackle any problem in the game, or you know,
Hmm. Totally. Well, let's get
yeah,
back into your career a little bit. We were talking about how you've transitioned to Fox now after watching Hacks do what he does, which I think is a story that a lot of Fox mains can relate to. Uh,
yeah. I
uh,
mean, it's embarrassing now when I look back and I just like, oh, I picked up Falco for Westfalls and I picked up Fox for Hack.
hey, you got to start somewhere, dude. I feel
I
that.
know, I know, I know.
So, was there like, you're going up the ranks, you're getting better. Was there ever a moment where it like clicked and you're like, "Whoa, I could be like a contender in this thing. Like I could really like, shake it up." Or was it
Mm.
more just like accumulation of the work that you've done?
I mean, it probably was a moment, and that's probably the moment that it started going poorly.
Okay. Do you know
It's
what
when
that
I thought
moment was?
I don't know. It might have been like when I beat Duck or whatever. Like when I first started beating Duck for the first time,
Mhm.
and I started like placing a little bit better at majors and everything. And I was like, oh, maybe I can do this. And it's not a bad thought, but it shifted my focus and my purpose like completely.
Mm.
Because it's just like this wasn't why I started. It wasn't. I didn't start to beat Duck or anything like that. Like started to because you love the game. As simple as that.
Mhm.
And yeah, when I got those thoughts, it's like everything shifted. All my purpose was shifted towards wanting to win, um, wanting to like prove something, all those things. And I think there are pros to that type of thinking, but I think I might have like I might have gone too far on one side of it, of like just playing to win, pretty much.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I didn't notice it. Like I was young. It's all hitting me now, with
Yeah.
age. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, how do you balance, like you said at the start of this interview, you're a competitive person, and like
Hmm.
I can empathize with that. I feel that for real. So it's like, how do you balance being a competitor and obviously having, the will to win versus like still centered around the game that you love?
Well, right now, I think I kind of just changed my views on competition.
Mhm.
How do I put this? Like competition when I was young, it was just like beating the other guy and winning. That's all competition really was to me. And I guess the older I grew, the more I kind of realized that it was just like competing with myself,
Mhm.
not like the person I'm competing with, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's hard to explain because like I have my game plans and I have like the things I want to do and the things I know I should do, like noticing my opponent and all those things. But it's just like the hardest part is getting myself to do it,
Hmm.
you know? So that's why it feels like it's always going to be like me competing with myself. And whatever the result is with this person, I don't have any control over. But making sure I have control over like competing with myself, like, uh, I don't know. That's just how I view it now. And it's so different from like when I used to go into tournaments when I was younger. Not even younger, just like last year, even
Hmm.
where I'm just like just trying to like compete versus this person and beat this person, and it's just like it's a distraction. It feels like to me.
Hmm.
I know other people think differently, but like that's just how it is for me.
No, I feel that though because I think like I tell the homies who like, oh, why do you play like melee? Like, why are you into that? Because I don't really play video games that much. It's like it's a way for me to grow through the game,
It
and I feel
is.
like yeah. And you said something interesting a little bit earlier in the interview where you said like the reason why I grind is because I enjoy it, I like it, but like I learn a lot through competition. Without getting like too deep in it, because it's just a podcast. But like, what were some of the things that you did learn through competition?
Oh man. Uh, huh. Without getting too deep into it.
I mean, if you want to, I ain't trying to press you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm just thinking because it's like there's just a long list of
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
Uh, I guess just like it kind of taught me how I viewed myself and how I treated myself because it's like there's times where I would like lose tournaments and I call myself a failure and all these things. Like I was pretty harsh on myself, and it made me question like who's making these rules and like whose rules am I following as to
Mm,
like what a failure is and everything. And that kind of opens up another door. It's just like who taught me this stuff, you know?
mm,
Because this stuff was taught, whether it be like it was taught during my childhood or it was taught during my time competing with these people and adapting their beliefs. But at some point, it was taught, and it's like now I'm just like, okay, this isn't. I don't need to believe these things. I don't need to keep the same mindset that I've been keeping since I was like 10, 11, 12, or whatever. Like I can change this, and I feel like that is something that I would not be able to experience without competing and without getting as emotionally invested in something like this and wanting something so bad.
mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I don't know how my emotions would get this high enough to where I have to face some of the inside problems without competition. So that's why I like. I love competition. It is like it feels like a cheat code for self improvement, honestly,
I
or like
totally
a
feel
cheat
that.
code for like learning about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just like if you are getting upset at something, then there's a reason. There is absolutely a reason. And you get to ask yourself why, and you get to be honest with yourself about why. And it's like every single time I've asked myself these questions, it has nothing to do with melee. Absolutely nothing. It has everything to do with like either a thought process or something I buried down deep inside or something. But the reason is never melee. So it's like that's sick. I get to dive deeper and pull out these roots
Mm-hmm.
of things that I was just like taught at a young age. And I when I say young age, I also mean like 2021, 24, 25, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because if I don't deal with them while I'm like 11, 12, or whatever, they're gonna stay there until I'm like until I deal with them pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, competition has been it's great. Like it does suck when you lose and everything, but
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
I feel like the stuff, the benefits you get from it is just kind of unmatched.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Do you feel like it's a blessing to be able to compete in melee then? Like, because there's
Oh
there's so many
oh
things that
yeah.
there's so many things that you could compete in. Like you were competing in Yu-Gi-Oh, and like people compete sports. Do you feel like Melee has like a
Oh,
certain thing that is different, or do you feel
mm,
like any avenue
I
of
think you can.
competition is
I think you
healthy?
can get this. I think you can get it
Okay,
anywhere.
got you,
Yeah,
got you.
I used to think melee was special,
Mm-hmm.
like in the sense that like you can only get this experience here, but nah, I think you can get this anywhere,
Mm-hmm.
like anywhere in competing. Because if
Definitely.
you listen to like people, you listen to like MMA fighters, you listen to basketball players, um, any like high level sport or competition, they all talk similarly.
Mm-hmm.
They all experience like similar feelings. Like none of these feelings I'm experiencing when I compete, when I lose, when I win, none of them are new. You know, people have experienced this throughout all of history. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
if
interesting.
it wasn't melee, I would be getting this somewhere else. I can almost guarantee that.
Yeah. Do you think in the future there'll be a time where you put down the sticks and you go compete somewhere else, or do you feel like this avenue of competition is good for you right now?
I have no idea,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel you.
I, I have no idea.
Well, it's interesting that you talk like when I think of you, like I said, it's about like the innovation, especially with Fox and Falco now, and
Mm-hmm.
you said like the problems that you dive in and delve into a lot of the times don't relate to the game actually in terms of self improvement.
Yeah.
How are you able to separate those problems outside of the game to the problems that are specific inside the game that you can try to fix through game plans or through
Uh,
tech?
the inside game problems, inside of the game problems are just easier.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like because the game is, in my opinion, the game is pretty simple. Like in any interaction, only a few things can happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether it be them attacking you, them delaying their attack, or them trying to bait you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Oftentimes, in every situation, it's a combination of those three, or it's one of those three things happening. So, like, when I put it like that, it's just like, okay, well, this is simple. I can break this down. It's not like this is something you could teach, like 10-year old. It feels like the hard part is that within those three categories, thousands thousands of options can happen. But I've done years of training and I know what the options are. So like because I did all that training, when I look at these situations now, I'm just like, okay, it's not that difficult. The hard part is like kind of training my muscle memory and to training my muscle memory to like do these things on command without thinking about it. That part's hard, but understanding it and looking at it is no longer like difficult. That's honestly like the fun part right now.
Mm.
It's just going back to look at my VODs or clips or whatever and just being able to like almost do the labbing inside my head just because, I haven't found a situation in Melee that is like overly complicated. I have yet to find one, and I don't think there will be one.
Do you still find yourself learning new situations, new things like
Every
throughout the
day.
game?
Yeah,
That's
every day.
crazy. Yeah, it's crazy how deep the game can go then. I mean,
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, it's cool because, again, the game is, I think it's super simple, but it's like, it is still like kind of endless with how you want to approach it.
mhm.
So, yeah, every single day, there's something new. I see something new. I learn something new. And
Do you
yeah, I don't know.
do you like take pride in knowing that you've left your mark in this game? Like especially, like in your play style and in some of the things that you've brought technique wise and game
Yeah, I don't think about it that much because I want to leave a bigger mark.
what mark do you want to leave?
Um, no, I just want to be like one of the other dual spacey mains that can like win majors and show it's possible to like play these two characters because like the only person who has done it is Mango,
Mhm.
and it's like I don't want him to be the only one to be able to do this like that because it can't be that hard. Like I want to give people like proof that like yeah you can do it with both characters if you want. Like, it's possible. So I want to leave a bigger mark, but I do see my like influence what I watch like all the time now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I see people do like Market 2.0. I see people do the main thing I see right now, which is crazy, is when I see Foxes do up throw pivot up smash
Mm-hmm.
on other spaces as a kill, and I'm just like, man, I remember figuring this out in my basement in like 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember tweeting about it, and I remember Leffer responding to me about it and saying something like, "I don't need to do the pivot. You can shield stop it," and then he like helped optimize it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah." But now, like 10 years later, if I boot up on ranked and I play a random Fox, they're doing it to me. I'm like, that's insane because they don't even know that like where it came from. It's just like they're just doing it. Or if I see Fox's Laserland, I'm just like, dude, what is going on?
Yeah, yeah, I don't even
And
know this guy. Yeah.
even the Falco stuff is crazy because like the Falco stuff, like I just picked the character up like 2 years ago and I came up with like some new ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And I play a Falco in pools, and the first combo they hit me with is like Shine, double down there, Shine. I'm just like, that's crazy. I was sitting here when I discovered this, like sitting in this chair
Yeah.
when I was like testing this, and now it's like spreading and people are doing it. And I'm just like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's always jarring to get hit by something that I discovered like at home.
It's funny, yeah. I remember when I play Fox, so I remember when the Falco started double daring me, and I was like, all right, cool, cool. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it must be pretty surreal for you to be like, dude, I just figured this
Yeah,
out like 3 months ago, 4 months ago, and posted it.
yeah, and it's like I can never tell if they're doing it from me or if it's something they discovered on their own
Mm,
because like a lot of these things, I can't take too much pride in them because I never know if I was the first one, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Like up throw pivot up smash, like I'm sure someone has done it before.
mm-hmm,
Double down there, like I've seen it before. Yeah, of course. Like I've seen someone like do it before, maybe on accident, but like even like I don't know. I've seen people down there on this platform and drop through down there. And it's like the same type of thing. And I'm just like, yeah, I've seen all this stuff before. So like I can't take too much pride in it just because you never know if you're the first one.
yeah,
But
for
I
sure.
a lot of times they will tell me. They're just like, oh yeah, I learned this from you or whatever. And I'm just like, oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of sick.
Well, like, can you describe how you take? Because you might not be the first one to do these techniques, or you might have seen them before, but you're definitely a really incredible player when it comes to optimization of those techniques. Can you
Mm-hmm.
describe like the process that you take when you go from like the inspiration or seeing it for the first time to optimizing it to the level that it is today?
A lot of things are I either learned them on mistake or they just come to me like on a walk or like while I'm driving or something. I'm just I wonder if that works. Like laser landing was a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
When I first figured it out, I was trying to like shine land and I just didn't press down, press B instead. And then I got this weird laser thing and I was just
Mm-hmm.
like, that's weird. And I just looked into it. Um, but something like Marv Killer 2.0 with like this shield SDI, that was something I actively thought about. And I was like, oh, I hope that works.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought about it while I was out and I couldn't wait to get home. I was like, dude, I think that might work. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like when I get an idea or something and it's like I see a possibility, I can't help myself. I just pull at it and I just like get lost in it. It's something I've had to stop myself from doing more recently, just because I'm trying to prioritize my time a bit better.
Mm-hmm.
With what I want to accomplish in the game. But when I was lapping all those things and coming up with all these innovations and everything, it's just like I just kind of got immersed in it and ignored everything else. And it's just like I'm just gonna see how far I can push this and optimize this, and then see what I got at the end of it.
That's awesome. I want to
Yeah.
go back a little bit to your career and when you transitioned from just being a Fox player to dual maining and picking up Falco. What was
Uh-huh.
the catalyst for that change?
For me picking up Falco the second time, like right now,
Like this next time, or
I
in the current
I'll be
era.
honest, I still can't really figure it out because I just think it was such a chaotic part of my life
Hmm.
outside of the game that I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have any direction or anything like that, and I truly don't know. Like I do know that Fiction picked up Falco, and me and him played Fox Falco every day, and I learned more about Falco from him. And I had already really liked the character. I was like, this character's so cool, everything. But the more he played, the more I was like, he would tell me about matchups like Falco Falcon, and he would tell me game plans, all these things. I'm like, dude, that sounds pretty fun. I should
Hmm.
try it. And I was like, you know what? One day I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try it. I just started playing Falco a little bit. I was like, dude, this is fun. I could push this. And then just next thing you know, I'm at Genesis playing my Falco, who I've been like practicing for 1 month, like getting destroyed. And now I'm just like, well, I don't want to stop now. Like I can get better with this character, you know?
Yeah.
And now that's really it. Like now here I am 2 years later, and it's like I'm not quitting him. I do think picking him up was the best decision for my career, even if like my results haven't shown it yet. It
Hmm.
has opened up my eyes on how I view the game. It's exposed my weaknesses that Fox couldn't expose, or that I was like kind of unwilling to look at with Fox. So I don't regret it at all. Like easily the best decision I've ever made.
What were some of those things that it exposed to you, like specifically?
Um, how quick I need to be,
Hmm.
meaning like with Fox, I've been saying this recently, but like the faster your character, the slower you can be.
Hmm.
The slower your character, the faster you can be with your decision making, pretty much. So like, I was like fast with Fox, buttons wise, but I wasn't really fast at making decisions because like I didn't feel like I was forced to. So when I'm Falco and I don't have the speed to like set up something or like dash away and reset something, it's like, oh, I need to be a bit more intentional with everything I'm doing.
Hmm.
Like everything kind of has to serve a purpose. This dash forward means I'm not going to be able to get out of the way if he jumps over me if I dash forward. So I need to be purposeful with my dash forward and keep that in mind. And that's something that I did not learn with Fox because I might dash forward with Fox without any purpose, see that they jump, and then I dash away and avoid it.
Mm.
You know, because my character's fast enough that I don't have to make that decision just yet. So yeah, that was that. I don't know. That was a big thing. Learning how to scrap without like a huge shine is another thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you know, and in so many situations where I'm Fox and it's like I'm in a scrap and I can press shine full hop and it should be good enough like 7 out of 10 times.
Hmm.
With Falco, it's like that. It's just not good enough. Like you gotta learn how to maneuver a bit better. You might have to change your intention from scrapping to reset to like scrapping to are you trying to defend in this scrap? Are you trying to attack out of the scrap? Are you trying to reposition? Like I just had to think about a lot more
Mm.
with Falco, and it's like I'm taking all that stuff and I'm giving it to my Fox as well. It's not like I'm just viewing the game through this lens when I play Falco. It's like no, this is just how I view the game now in general.
Mm. So it translates to the Fox then as
Oh
well.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. Cause I totally feel that. Like I think like every Fox main does, I have like a Falco that I play a lot that's fun. I love Falco, he's super fun. But in tournament, I feel like he's so frustrating whenever I pull him out because again, I have to
Yeah.
be way more purposeful. I can't
Mm-hmm.
just get out scot free with a dashback or something like that.
Yeah.
How are you able to be purposeful under high pressure situations? I mean, is it more muscle memory? Is it like you did the work already, the haze in the barn, so it's gonna show up, or are you trying
It's
to lock in?
I feel like that's more of a discipline and mental thing.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just like trusting yourself and trusting the game plan I feel like the pressure comes from not trusting those things, at least in my experience. Like when I go back and look at my VODs where I'm nervous, it's just like I'm not trusting the game plan. I'm just like playing off of my emotions. So
Hmm.
like that's not a Fox or Falco thing, and that is like a me thing. And yeah, it's just that's what I mean by like working on the mental part as well. That falls under the mental category of like trusting yourself and trusting your game plan. I don't think you can always eliminate pressure, but like the goal is to still stick to your plan throughout pressure and not play based off of your emotions for me.
Hmm.
Yeah. That's when I'm playing poorly, in my opinion, is when I'm playing off of my emotions. It has nothing to do with my execution. It is all like, am I sticking to something or am I listening to my emotions?
Mm.
That's how I like can tell if I'm playing well.
Have you thought about, since you've learned so much from picking up Falco, have you thought about picking up other characters?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have time.
Yeah. I feel you.
I want to play Marth. I want to play Marth really bad.
Why? Why
And
Marth?
I don't know. He's just fun. It's
Yeah.
not Marth specifically. It's just like I want to. Before I'm done, I definitely want to experience like every character.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
as of right now, I'm only playing like 20% of the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So of course, I want to experience like the full game at some point. I don't know what it's like to play a character that I don't know like what it's like to play like Mario or something who
Yeah.
doesn't have like big moves or strong like vertical play and he struggles getting down. I don't even know what that feels like,
Hmm.
because Fox and Falco is just like, yeah, I got this down there and I got this double jump and I got this laser and I got this wave land and
Hmm.
I got this side B and all these things. Like I don't know what it's like to not have those things. So it's like I do want to experience other characters at some point. I need to make more of an effort to do that.
Hmm. It's tough though with the time. I mean, how
It
how
is.
how is time management factor into your abilities as a player? And
Uh, I have to start waking up earlier
yeah, I
to
feel you.
to maximize how much I want to play and how much I want to get done outside of the game.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just there's no other way to go around it. I don't want to stay up till like 5 a.m. playing.
Yeah.
I don't think that's great. So yeah, I for Monday through Friday, I pretty much have a routine for like playing where I wake up early,
Hmm.
practice a little bit, go to the gym, come back, play a little bit, depending on how many lessons I have that day. I'll work around it, but I get almost the same amount of time into the game almost every day.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm managing the time well. It is difficult if your sleep schedule does not like work around it, I guess.
Hmm.
Yeah, like when I was getting out of bed at like 1 and 2 p.m. Oh man, it was so hard to get everything I wanted to do melee wise into one day, and if I didn't, then I would have to stay up late.
Mm.
And the later I stay up, then it's like I'm in the Discord call with like the homies, like we're hanging
Yeah.
out, and it's like it's great because I'm having a fun time, but it's like I can't even focus on what I really want to focus on
Hmm.
fully. I'm like 60% there, but it's like I'm not even fully locked in doing everything I need to be doing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel you, man. I feel you. I mean, how are you able to balance like doing what you want to do in the game while still enjoying those moments with your friends, with the homies? Like, cause that's an important thing for me too, is like, I obviously want to get better,
Yeah.
but I want to have fun in the community. I love this community. So,
The good news or the good thing is that like all my friends are asleep when I wake up. So I do most of my melee work in the morning. So I'm able to like hang out with them later when they're awake and everything. It's just like okay, like I don't feel bad about spending some time to like hang out and like joke around while still playing because like I did what I needed to do already. So
Mm.
that's how I balance it.
I want to ask you, relating back to something that you said earlier, which is like you want to show that being a dual main with Spacies isn't impossible. It isn't just a mango only thing. You want to show that
Mm-hmm.
it's you're capable of doing it. What do you think are the steps that you need to take in 2024 in order to get closer or complete that goal?
Well, I'm doing it now where this me waking up early is a new thing.
Mm,
It's I think that is one of the things that I needed to do to maximize like all my time is having like an actual schedule. Um, I guess also trying to simplify my game plans a lot with both Fox and Falco because I tend to try and overcomplicate things. I tend to I want to do a whole lot of things in every matchup. And I think that's great for learning. I think that's great for like playing for fun and all these things. But when it's coming down to like performance and it's coming down to just, 3 to 5 games in a tournament set, I want it to be as simple as possible,
mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just prioritizing what I need to work on. Do I need to work on shield pressure as Falco? Or do I need to like get better edge guards or like get more consistent edge guards? And it's like I'm gonna lean more towards the edge guards. That's what's
Mm-hmm.
gonna give me kills. So I think those things are the steps, like the main steps I need to take to reach that level. And just working on getting used to switching between Fox and Falco, having a game plan for when I want to play one versus the other. And yeah, Mango's been helping me out a lot with it. He told me, I don't think it's going to take me this long, but he told me it took him like 6 to 7 years before he was able to play both comfortably at a
Mm-hmm.
tournament. And I'm like, well, this is my second year. But I have to remember back then he didn't have all the resources that I have,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think it's going to take me that long, but I feel close. Like every day it's getting closer. Every tournament, I learn something new about myself, all these things. So like it feels very, very doable. It does not feel impossible at all. Um, yeah, I just need to keep working at it, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
and keep being disciplined on it.
I've been seeing the Spacey Talk episodes, and you've been releasing a couple things too on your YouTube channel, that
Mm-hmm.
are pretty cool. Go check it out. I'll link it after in the what's it called, the video after the credits or whatever. I'm
Yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah.
I got an editor, man. I don't know how this shit works, but
It's okay.
but like, how important do you think it is to have someone like, like, to bounce ideas off of, like, a peer like that?
Hey, I mean, it helps so much. Like
Mm-hmm.
I have so many people to bounce ideas off of. It's just I don't know. I'm very blessed to be able to have that because there are people, very talented players who might not have the same opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
to bounce ideas off of Drug Fox or Mango, you know, fiction, all those things. So like I don't take it for it's one of the best parts of like doing this, honestly, is being able to talk with those people.
That's awesome. I want to
Yeah.
transition a little bit to your coaching. I'm always interested. First off, go get coaching from KJH.
Mm-hmm.
That's easy money right there if you want to get better. But like, I'm always interested in asking some of the coaches that we've had on the podcast. What are some of the things that you've learned through coaching that's helped you in Melee?
Uh, learning that just everyone is so similar,
Really?
you know. Yeah, like
Yeah.
just being able to humanize my competition.
Mm,
You know, everyone's struggling, and it's not like something that I want to take advantage of or anything. It's just something that it's like I can understand. It's just like okay, yeah, like this person they can't be perfect.
mm-hmm.
I understand that. Um, yeah, coaching has taught me a lot. It's great because a lot of times. So I used to coach before, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, and
Mm-hmm.
my coaching 2 or 3 years ago is completely different from now because back then we would look at the games and I would kind of walk through the matchup, the options, what's strong and what's weak. And I would just give them that information and they would go with it.
Mm-hmm.
And the information wasn't bad, but the coaching I do now is more so trying to help them unlearn the thought processes that led them to these decisions. It's a lot deeper because it's like so many of my students have the same problem where they are like trying to figure out the answer. They want to know what to do in this situation and all those things. And it's just like, it comes down to them just not being willing to be uncomfortable pretty much because they're just like looking for this like answer or whatever. And it's just like, I have to tell them, I'm like, look, there is no right or wrong answer. That's just the game. Like, you can't fully be prepared for every situation. Like, you have to be spontaneous, you know. Something that one of my older coaches taught me on Virus about just, you know, being spontaneous. And it's just, yeah, it's just true. So, like, what I'm doing now is the reason I'm doing coaching now is like I'm trying to save people years of time. As someone who has tried to lab out every situation and find an answer, I'm trying to save these people from not wasting that time, but like using it more wisely, you know? Because I don't think I wasted time because I did learn a lot trying to learn like all these situations. So I'm very good in the situations that I did grind, but I didn't need to spend as much time on it as I did.
I got you. You said something. You said something interesting there. Like for a follow up question, you said, you know, a lot of these guys are uncomfortable being uncomfortable. They don't want to be uncomfortable. Do you feel like being uncomfortable is necessary for growth in this game?
Yeah. I think it's necessary for just growth in general. Like I keep trying to tell them that it's not the game thing. It's like this is just life, you know. If you want to grow, a lot of times you do have to be uncomfortable, and it will translate very well in Melee. But the goal, it isn't just a Melee thing, and that took a while for me to realize too. Is because like I would kind of refuse to be uncomfortable outside of life, and then once I got in the game, it's like, all right, time to be uncomfortable. It's just like it's just wasn't how it worked.
That's interesting. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a couple things as we wrap up about hobbies and interests outside of the sticks. You know, I heard UFC, I heard basketball when we were doing this interview. Are you a sports fan? Do you follow that? What do you follow?
There's a Lakers game tonight. Not tonight. There's a Lakers game in 30 minutes, and if they win, they get the AFC. So
I know, dude. I'm a Sacramento Kings fan, so I'm dying out here, dude. We blew it the last 2 games, and I don't want to cry on stream, so I won't get into it. But
yeah, basketball is a huge one. The other one is just anything nature related. Like
really,
my headphones fell out.
Oh, no worries.
Hello.
Yep, I can hear you.
Yeah. Anything nature related, I'm down. Hikes, catching snakes is probably like one of my favorite things to do.
Catching snakes?
Yeah. Like me and Beach. I don't know if you know Beach.
I heard of him. Yeah, I haven't met him.
Yeah. Every time I go to his house, we just like go to a little pond, something like that. And we just try and find snakes, catch them. It's not that we keep them or anything. We just catch them. They're cool. Let them back.
Yeah. You know, I just catch and release.
I love wildlife like so much. It's probably honestly my biggest passion. It's just something I've never chased as much or pursued as much. But yeah, I love wildlife.
Is there like a specific, like you're saying snakes, are like, are you interested in snakes? Are you interested in all wildlife? Like, is there?
Pretty much all wildlife.
Yeah.
Reptiles are my favorite, but all wildlife for sure.
That's sick. You been up to the UP before? I'm sure you have, right? Nah? Aw, dude.
I will go. I've been to Colorado.
Okay.
A ton of wildlife and nature there. That's super sick. But me and Beach, I think we are going to go to the UP maybe this year.
Yeah. I was trying to get some of the Melee home. For those who don't know, who aren't in Michigan, that's the Upper Peninsula, which is, you know, super beautiful, super outdoorsy, has a lot of outdoor stuff to do. And I'm always trying to get a little group of Melee homies to come through. So that's do you play basketball? Like we were talking about sports a little bit. Do you play?
I mean, not a lot, but yeah, every now and then.
Yeah, a little ball. Yeah, it's always fun. Yeah. It's always fun. Do you what type? I always ask this to people. What type of music are you into? I always feel like that's a window to the soul.
I don't even know how to describe it.
Yeah.
It's very
eclectic.
Yeah.
What have you been listening to lately?
Now, okay, lately has been a big hip hop vibe right now, just because of
Okay.
all the beef and
Oh my
hip
God,
hop right
yeah.
now. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah. Dude, I can't even follow it anymore. It's like so many people are getting into it. It was just like Drake and
Kendrick.
Kendrick and Cole, and then now Rick Ross is in it,
Yes.
ASAP's
Oh
in
my
it.
goodness. Yep, yep,
Oh
yep.
my God.
So right now that has my attention, but I listen to everything honestly.
You rooting for anyone in that beef? You have any nah, you're not a stan of
I'm just
nobody? Oh yeah,
I'm
you
just
just
spectating.
yeah. I'm a little bit
Yeah,
of a Lamar fan, you know what I mean? So I feel like
I like all of them.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
just sick. It's sick.
Have you ever made music? Have you ever been interested in making? Because I've realized a lot of people in Melee make music that I didn't know did it.
I I used to play drums a while ago with my dad, but I haven't. I don't do it
Hmm.
anymore, and I haven't really been interested in making music. No.
Yeah, that shit's hard, man. I tried to make some beats. I had to throw them away. It was so bad. The NPC is buried somewhere, man. That stuff is too
Yeah.
hard. Well, I think that wraps it up for our hour, man. I want to thank you so
Okay.
much for coming on to the podcast. This has been Items
Yeah.
On. I'm your host Ethiopian. Our guest today was KJH. Thank you for watching.
Yeah. Peace.